Edgar Wright is a modern film director best known for a variety of films, including The World's End, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Hot Fuzz, Baby Driver, and Shaun of the Dead. In this video, we will be focusing on his work in two of his movies that are, arguably, the most unique of the bunch, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World and Baby Driver. Here's why these two films are significant. As we all know, the two major elements to a modern film are video and audio. These elements capture two physical senses of the viewer, being the sense of sight and the sense of sound. Edgar Wright is a mastermind of taking full advantage of these two senses in an incredibly creative way. His movie Baby Driver highlights his ability to utilize the viewer's sense of sound, and his movie Scott Pilgrim vs. the World highlights his ability to utilize the viewer's sense of sight. First off, let's dive into Baby Driver.
So what is it you do?
I'm a driver.
Oh, like a chauffeur. Anyone I'd know?
I hope not.
This trailer showcases an incredibly unique feature to Wright's movie Baby Driver, its correlation to the music. In fact, the entire film was based around the music, and this statement can be taken quite literally. The soundtrack was chosen before the actors, the props, or even the entire storyline. Paul Mackless, Wright's editor for Baby Driver, stated in an interview, "We were talking about the film back in 2011. Edgar had already chosen the tracks. In 2012, we did a big table read of the script. He sent that audio to me, and we effectively put together a 100-minute radio play of the entire film. It had all the dialogue, music, and sound effects, which could be given to producers to say, this is the film, and we've just got to put pictures on top of it." Not only did Wright base his entire movie off of the soundtrack, but he lined up a majority of the actions and sound effects to the rhythm of the soundtrack, regardless of if it's a high chase scene or the protagonist taking a stroll down the sidewalk to get coffee. In the opening car chase scene, for example, the soundtrack is Bell Bottoms by the John Spencer Blues Explosion. Let's take note of just a fraction of the moments where the action and sound effects line up with the soundtrack. As we watch the portions of the scene, listen for the subtle musical flares that I will point out as we go. The traffic light changing, brake screeching, horn honking, and accident are all taking place in beat with the music. The sound of the pillars whizzing by are in time with the snare drum in the song. The reverse beeping of the truck are in time on the offbeats. Each major action is on the one downbeat musically. The car horn on the other side of the road is honking to the same rhythm as a drum fill. So, how does Edgar Wright manage to film all of these clips in time with the music? The editor of Baby Driver, Paul Mackless, edited live on set. He edited the movie using Avid Media Composer on a 15-inch MacBook Pro on a little cart, on a wooden box, or on whatever was available to him depending on the set. After each and every shot, Mackless would instantaneously edit the clip together to make sure the timing of the shot worked with the music, and he gave Edgar Wright the green light to move on to another shot. Now let's move on to a very, very different film, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Mr. Pilgrim! I'm Ramona's first evil ex-boyfriend.
What? Wait, we're fighting over Ramona?
Didn't you get my email explaining the situation?
I skimmed it.
As a nerdy comedy, this film is clearly a stark contrast from Baby Driver. However, Wright's level of creativity does not waver. While Wright's Baby Driver showcases great feats of music and audio synchronization, His film Scott Pilgrim vs. the World features a variety of creative and unique visual aspects and quirks to keep the audience engaged. This film is a masterpiece of visual comedy. Wright utilizes picture and sound of the film to deliver jokes and reveal humor, not just dialogue and raunchy scenes like is so common in other comedies today. The film is littered with creative effects like this. By the way, this isn't my censoring, this is part of the actual film.
And by the way, I can't believe you asked Ramona out after I specifically told you not to do that.
How are you doing that with your mouth?
Never mind how I'm doing it.
Here's another example of a pop-up graphic to add humor. Wright also uses several examples of split screening to show the expression of several characters while also keeping the quirky aesthetic. Or he uses ironically classic methods of focusing on a single expression, such as the spotlight effect.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to her.
What?
Wright creates this awkward pause of the action several times throughout the film to show how quirky and lame Scott Pilgrim is, which is ironic because he is, technically, an action superstar and a rock star. Here's an example.
Finish him.
Finally, to showcase the geek that Scott Pilgrim really is, Wright features countless effects that resemble classic video games. Here's an example. So, whether it is utilizing music and sound effects to their fullest capacity, or creating what is truly visual humor, Edgar Wright is a creative cinema mastermind. Wright's films are jam-packed with uniqueness and non-stop creativity, allowing his films to be some of the best of modern day.